Welcome to the Ben Impact. Today we continue our journey into the world of nutrition and by exploring our final macronutrients on the list. That is fats. In the realm of macronutrients, we have the three musketeers. There are our proteins, our carbohydrates, and our fats. These vital components keep our body running like well-oiled machines and assure our overall health. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share with your friends and comment below. This will be very helpful to me and so you will be updated on future content. What exactly is fat? Fat can be classified in two main categories: dietary fat and body fat. Both belong to a group of molecules called lipids. Body fat refers to triglycerides stored in adipose cells. These adipose cells comprise subcutaneous and visceral fat tissues. Triglycerides are a type of fat found in the bloodstream. They are the most common form of fat in the body and serve as a storage mechanism for energy. When we consume more calories than our bodies need, the excess calories are converted into triglycerides and stored in fat cells. Later, when the body requires energy, triglycerides are released from fat cells and broken down into fatty acids, which can be utilized as a source of energy for various tissues and organs. High levels of triglycerides, though, in the blood are often associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Now, let's talk about dietary fat. Dietary fats are what we consume in our diet, what we eat, what we find in our food. At 9 calories per gram, fat is the most energy-dense macronutrient, providing more than twice the amount of energy for carbohydrates or proteins, for example. And excess calories from foods are converted into triglycerides and stored in fat cells for energy when needed. Fat serves multiple roles in our body, including aiding and absorbing and transporting fat-soluble vitamins and other compounds. Some vitamins, such as A, D, E, and K, require dietary fats to be properly absorbed and utilized by the body. Fats may also help in the regulation of the inflammatory process. Omega-3 fatty acids play an important role in muscle recovery, arterial health, and reduction of the inflammatory response. Fats contribute to taste and palatability of food, enhancing its flavor while giving a feeling of satiety and fullness after a meal, which can help regulate appetite and prevent overeating. Fat digestion starts in the mouth with salivary enzymes and continues in the stomach, but it reaches its peak in the small intestine. Bile aids in the breakdown of fats, and fatty acids and monoglycerides are absorbed in the small intestine, reassembled into triglycerides, and transported into the bloodstream for energy utilization or storage in the body. By now, you should better understand the role of fats in our bodies, and both as dietary fat and body fat. Let's delve deeper into the impact of different dietary fats on our health and explore some practical tips for incorporating healthy fats into your diet. Dietary fats can be found in a wide variety of food sources, including animal and plant-based foods. Let's explore the different types of fats and food sources. Saturated fats are typically solid at room temperature and can be found in fatty cuts of meat like beef, pork, lamb, poultry with skin, and high-fat dairy products like whole milk, cheese, butter, and also lard. Plant-based sources include coconut oil, palm oil, and cocoa butter. A high consumption of saturated fats has been associated with increased LDL cholesterol, often called bad cholesterol, and as an increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. We will discuss this later in more detail though. Unsaturated fats are generally liquid at room temperature and can be categorized in monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Monounsaturated fats are found in foods like olive oil, canola oil, avocado, nuts, almonds like cashews, peanuts, and my favorite, peanut butter. Polyunsaturated fats include omega-3s and omega-6 fatty acids. They're essential fats that the body needs but cannot produce independently. Among these, we have linoleic acids and omega-3 and alpha-linoleic acids and omega-6. They must be consumed in our diet. You can find omega-3 fatty acids in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, also flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. They've been linked with various health benefits, including reducing inflammation and promoting heart health. Omega-6 fatty acids are in vegetable oils, soybean, corn oil, sunflower oil, and seeds like sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. Nut and olive oil has been associated with potential cardioprotective effects and positive health benefits. Nut consumption is linked to a decreased risk of coronary heart disease. At the same time, olive oil is rich in phenolic compounds, known for their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Trans fats are artificially produced through hydrogenation, which converts liquid oils into solid fats. They're commonly used for processed and fried foods like baked goods and margarine. A high intake of trans fats has been strongly associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, and it is also important to limit and avoid these sources as much as possible. It's crucial to address the relationship between dietary fats and blood cholesterol levels when discussing dietary fat consumption. Cholesterol is a waxy fat-like substance found in the body cells. It is produced by the liver and obtained through dietary sources, primarily from animal-based foods. Cholesterol plays a vital role in the body's normal functioning, maintaining the integrity, stability, and fluidity of cell membranes. It serves as a precursor of starting material for synthesizing several hormones, including sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone, or adrenal hormones like cortisol or aldosterone. It is involved in the production of vitamin D in the skin. When we're exposed to sunlight, vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption and bone health. Furthermore, cholesterol is used by the liver to produce bile acids, which are necessary for the digestion and absorption of dietary fats. The types of cholesterol are defined by the different lipoproteins that carry them in the bloodstream. We have low-density lipoprotein, LDL, often called bad cholesterol. LDL carries cholesterol from the liver to the body's tissues. A high level of LDL are associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease because they can contribute to a buildup of plaque in the arteries. A high-density lipoprotein, or HDL, is known as good cholesterol, and it protects the cardiovascular system, helping remove excess cholesterol from the bloodstream and carrying it back to the liver for disposal. Higher levels of HDL are generally considered beneficial for heart health. Very low-density lipoprotein, VLDL, is like LDL cholesterol but carries more triglycerides and less cholesterol. High VLDL cholesterol levels are associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Monitoring and managing cholesterol levels, particularly LDL and HDL, it is very important because maintaining cardiovascular health and a healthy lifestyle, including a balanced diet, regular exercise, no smoking, and maintaining a healthy weight can help maintain good cholesterol levels. In some cases, medication can help managing those levels. The recommendations for fat intake can vary based on individuals, such as factors like age, sex, activity level, and overall health. Dietary guidelines from the World Health Organization recommend a total fat intake between 20% and 35% of total calories to ensure adequate consumption and total energy, limiting saturated fat and maintaining a proper energy balance. The American Heart Association recommends limiting the intake of saturated fats to less than 7% of total daily calories. They propose reducing fatty meats, full-fat dairy products, tropical oils like coconut oil or palm oil, and other foods high in saturated fats. They also advise to minimize trans fats as much as possible. Throughout my research, I have come to understand that the relationship between dietary fat and cholesterol and cardiovascular health is a complex one. They're influenced by numerous factors. Individual responses to dietary fats, lifestyle, such as physical activities, overall diet quality, and genetics play an important roles. For years, nutrition communication has emphasized balancing calorie intake with energy expenditure and reducing dietary fat. The focus was on lowering saturated fat intake and overall caloric intake due to high energy density of the lipids. As a result, low-fat, high-carbohydrate diets gained popularity in the 1980s for weight loss and reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease. However, the reduction of total fat intake had unintended consequences. People started consuming more refined carbohydrates and added sugars while avoiding nutrient-dense foods that contain healthy unsaturated fats like nuts, seeds, avocados, and vegetable oils. This led to decrease in fat consumption and increased carbohydrate intake as a percentage of total calories, contributing to higher intake levels and, of course, obesity rates in the United States. The recommendations to reduce saturated fat has been the basis of cardiovascular disease risk reduction for decades, based on the diet-heart hypothesis linking saturated fats and cholesterol to development of atherosclerosis and coronary heart disease. However, we must objectively consider other risk factors such as for heart disease, such as blood lipids, hypertension, smoking, diabetes, being overweight or obese, or having a sedentary lifestyle. While perspectives on the original diet-heart hypothesis continue to evolve, its impact on nutrition policy and consumer perceptions on fat has been long-lasting. Decades of low-fat diet recommendation and the availability of low-fat products have shaped the perception of fat and the role for a healthy lifestyle. Systematic reviews or prospective cohort studies have shown little or no association between monounsaturated, polyunsaturated, and saturated fats with the risk of chronic diseases. On the other hand, evidence from randomized controlled trials has demonstrated that trans fats have more detrimental effects on blood lipids than saturated fats. A high intake of total trans fats has been linked to an increased risk of all-cause mortality and cardiovascular disease. They've been found to have adverse effects on LDL cholesterol levels, to raise triglycerides, or lower HDL cholesterol, to promote health inflammation, induce endothelial dysfunction, and potentially contribute to hepatic fat synthesis or excess fat accumulation in the liver. What about dietary fat recommendations for athletes? It is recommended that athletes consume between 20 and 35% of daily calorie intake coming from dietary fat, with adequate protein and carbohydrate intake. For example, if an athlete consumes around 3,000 calories per day, approximately 600 to 1,000 calories should come from fat. It is best to calculate in advance carbohydrate and protein needs and then estimate the amount of fat needed based on calorie intake. Estimated ranges of 0.5 grams to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight daily should be a good starting point. Both dietary and body fats are crucial energy sources during rest and low to moderate intensity exercise. Fat is the body's preferred fuel for lower intensity activities such as walking, sitting, and even in rest intervals between sets at the gym. During these activities, the body can rely on a combination of fat, glycogen, stored carbohydrate, and blood glucose to meet its energy needs. As exercise intensity increases, our muscles rely more on stored glycogen and blood glucose for energy. While glycogen and glucose can provide ATP or energy more quickly than fats, glycogen availability within specific muscle groups becomes limited, decreasing exercise intensity, and there is a higher reliance on fat as the primary source for energy. Utilizing fat as energy source improves with increased aerobic fitness. When athletes become more aerobically fit, they can use fat instead of glycogen for energy, allowing them to exercise longer at a higher intensity before depleting glycogen. When we discuss fat intake for muscle building purposes, it is commonly recommended that competitive bodybuilders and physique athletes consume around 15 to 20% of their total calories from dietary fats. This translates to varying total fat intake ranges, such as 40 to 65 grams or 79 to 90 grams per day, depending on the individual, of course, with their specific needs. Regarding muscle building, protein and carbohydrates are often prioritized as they play a crucial role in building and preserving lean body mass, increasing satiety and enhancing training performance. Avoiding very low fat intake for prolonged periods is generally advisable since dietary fat plays important roles in various physiological functions. It is essential to consider the overall balance of your diet and incorporate various quality, nutrient-rich foods. Enjoy what you eat sustainably and consider your fitness goals and longevity. If you need help figuring out where to start, consider looking for a registered dietitian or a sport nutritionist that can give you personalized assistance based on your health and fitness. Well, this concludes our journey into the worlds of micronutrients. Next, I'm going to tackle minerals and vitamins for our next video on micronutrients, and it will be also important to follow. Before then, make sure to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, comment, share, and let me know if there is something that you liked or you did not like, and give me some constructive criticism about this video. And after this, well, I hope to see you next time, and see you.